Recently, I did a video on Pastor Mike Winger talking about Benny Hinn, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt in the video, but I've always been gracious towards Mike Winger, and I didn't go as far as I usually go. I say, some of this stuff that he said on here, one of the things in particular was a flat-out lie, and he should have known it was a lie. So it was hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm Steve Perry. This is Biblical Anarchy, and Mike Winger has the benefit of the doubt with me. No more. I have actually blocked his Facebook page. I have unsubscribed from his YouTube channel. Mike Winger is not only a false teacher, and I don't say that in the Christian sense, okay? I say that in the sense, if you want to learn about the Bible, don't go to Mike Winger, because the guy lies, and he lies to spread his hate. I'm going to give you an example to back that up, but here's what brought this on. So he made a post about abortion yesterday or the day before, and I commented on it. Now, I've been commenting on everything he posted on Benny Hinn, trying to draw his attention to the fact that some of the things he said about Benny Hinn were flat-out lies. So none of my comments got answered, which is fine. Mike Winger's got a ton of followers. He's a busy guy. Maybe he didn't see it. I'm still not saying it. Maybe he genuinely didn't see it. I doubt that now, but maybe he didn't. But when I commented on his abortion post where he called pro-choice people pro-baby killers, right? A ridiculous thing to say. So I pointed out why it was a ridiculous thing to say. And he doubles down on it, right? And I said, well, you're being confronted by somebody who holds this view, telling you that you're wrong. If you insist on going, at this point, you're just lying. There's really nothing I can do with you. So I blocked his Facebook page and unsubscribed from his YouTube, went through, clicked, do not recommend these videos to me. What I want to do here in this video, okay, because I made a charge. I say that Mike Winger is lying to spread hate. And I'm going to prove that in this video. So this first clip you're going to get is from an old sermon he did on homosexuality. His argument here is on Leviticus 18, the laws in that specific section. And this clip is going to be, 2 minutes long maybe. I want you to see the whole clip because I want you to see that he includes all the laws in Leviticus 18 in what he says. Watch this.
Leviticus 18 verse 1. He says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, I am the Lord your God. According to the doings of the land of Egypt, where you dwelt, you shall not do. And according to the doings of the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you now, you shall not do. Nor shall you walk in their ordinances. And then he gives the list. Don't do this, this, this. And I read the list earlier to you of all these sins. Then, at the close of Leviticus 18, he repeats himself. Do not defile yourselves, in verse 24, with any of these things, for by all these things the nations are defiled, which I am casting out before you. For the land is defiled. Therefore I visit the punishment of its iniquity upon it, and the land vomits out its inhabitants. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, either any of your own nation or any stranger that dwells among you. For all these abominations the men of the land have done who were before you, and thus the land is defiled. And he says, then again, lest the land vomit you out also when you defile it, as it vomited out the nations who were before you. So specifically, God says in no uncertain terms, these acts are the reasons why I kicked them out of the land. Let me translate. I judge Gentiles by these standards. It's not just the Old Testament law. I judge Gentiles who have not the law by these standards. These sexual sins and these activities are so evil to me that I judge foreign nations by them. Israel, the reason why this will be in your law is because it is an untimed moral law.
Okay, now the thing I want you to focus on there is him saying that this is timeless, right? It's for all time. And he has to say that because he believes that God judged Sodom and Gomorrah for homosexuality. So this law can't be instituted at Sinai. It has to predate Sinai. But he doesn't just say Leviticus 18:22. He starts at the start of the chapter, then goes to the end and say all the laws in here, okay? Now, recently he's been going after some guy who calls himself the Christian Polygamist Guy or what have you. Here's what he said in his first video about that, speaking about the marriage of Jacob with Rachel and Leah.
Can't just take what's descriptive in Scripture and make it prescriptive in Scripture. Jacob did something that he says, the tribes of Israel came from Jacob, right? Jacob, he's got his wives, Leah and Rachel. Then they have Zilpah and Bilhah were their names. They're two servants that Jacob married. All four of these women are his. This is what he's saying. That's a good example that the Bible is saying God used to bring all the tribes of Israel. It's not a good example. It's just what God used. Later on in Deuteronomy, God specifically says you cannot take a woman and her sister as a rival. It's gonna mess up your whole family. You can't do this. It's specifically outlawed in Israel. The very thing Jacob did that Rob, the polygamy guy, is acting like is a moral good, is something to pursue. It's an example the Scripture itself refutes in the Old Testament.
Now, Mike knows exactly where to find the homosexuality verse. It's Leviticus 18:22. But no, Mike, it's not in Deuteronomy. It's in Leviticus 18, right? You can't marry a woman and take her sister as a rival wife, okay? That's Leviticus 18. That's in between the passages that he quoted in the sermon against homosexuality, saying that this is timeless and it's for all the world. But here, when it comes to polygamy, he says, God will make what Jacob did a sin later in Israel. So somehow this verse here about marrying a sister and a rival is not timeless and not for everybody. It's only in Israel and it's later in time, right? But Leviticus 18:22, a man shall not lie with a male as with a woman. That's timeless. That's for all time, right? See how he picks and chooses to target the groups he doesn't like? Because earlier in this video, he says, hey, this guy's a Christian. I don't doubt that he's a Christian. We just disagree on this polygamy thing, right? So it's okay for you to do this thing because Mike says it's okay. But Leviticus 18:22, no, that particular one is timeless and it's for everybody. And it's just, it's ridiculous. Like this guy brings up that, polygamy, some people say polygamy was just for populating the earth, right? And you heard Mike say, don't take something that's descriptive and make it prescriptive, right? But yet Adam and Eve, right? God must not have wanted polygamy because Adam and Eve, listen.
God wanted to use polygamy to populate the earth, then Adam would have been a polygamist. Nope, he only had one wife.
Now, I want you to take a moment to bask in just how cosmically dumb that statement is. Because if you think about it, God made Adam and Eve, bless them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So in order for them and their children to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, brother would have had to marry sister, which, by the way, is also outlawed in Leviticus 18, which he says is timeless, right? So somehow God, who has a timeless law that a brother and sister can't marry, chose to create with only two humans, requiring brothers and sisters to marry. His theology is so utterly ridiculous at this point. And he's just making Leviticus 18 timeless and targeting homosexuals only. But if we follow his, like God must have made it prescriptive that a man marry one woman because he only gave Adam one wife, right? Well, it must also then be prescriptive that we should marry our brothers and sisters because God only made one man and one woman, so their children would have to marry brother and sister, so that must be the way he wants us to reproduce. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous, and it's what Pastor Mike does all the time. There's a group he doesn't like, so he will twist any scripture he wants to go after those people. But when it's a group he does like, the polygamists, he likes them, they're Christians, he just disagrees with them, right? He's not going to take that same scripture and twist it against them. Why not? Why only target the people you don't like? If those laws are timeless, right? As he said, they're for all time, then they would be for all time for everybody. You don't just get to take Leviticus 18:22 out of there to target the homosexual community. And the reason why this is so important, folks, is there's only twice in the Bible that God, scorched earth is the term. I understand the first one is a flood. But Sodom and Gomorrah, the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, where God kills man, woman, child, animal, plant, everything, just wipes it out. Now, the first time it's covers the whole earth. The second time it's Sodom and Gomorrah. So when you sit there and say to young kids sitting in church who may have homosexual tendencies, right, that this is a timeless law for all time, God used it to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, which is patently false. It had nothing to do with homosexuality. I've done several videos proving that fact. When you sit there and you put this load on young gay children, I'm so terrible. Because when you go back, remember, best for the flood, the best you could say is humans sleeping with angels, although that's a bit absurd. But that's not a sin that anybody can commit today, right? There's no angels around for you to have sex with. Homosexuality is. So you're telling these young children who are gay, who feel same-sex attraction, that they are so terrible, that they are committing the only sin that God has ever scorched earth, wiped out fathers, mothers, children, babies, pets, livestock, trees, everything, like destroyed everything over this one particular sin. You're putting this weight on those young gay kids, and it's a weight they don't need to have just because you, Mike Winger, don't like homosexuals. Get over your bigotry and stop twisting the Bible to go after groups of people you don't like. And if you clean up your act, who knows? I may watch your videos again, because I genuinely did like the guy. But what he's doing is disgusting. It's garbage. It's filth, and it needs to be confronted. I'm Steve Perry. This is Biblical Anarchy. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share on the social media, subscribe to the channel. Whatever you do, don't just sit there. Do something. You thought I forgot how to do that, didn't you?